I plead ignorance of the details of your heartbreaks, your office politics, your kitchen table worries. I know nothing of your particular names and faces, but I do know this common thing we have all done. We have looked at a person and said in our hearts, there is my safety, or there is my recognition, or there is my bread. And then we baptized it with sweet names, need, loyalty, even love. You see, we took the invisible and tried to hang it upon an arm of flesh. And then, when that arm trembled, our world trembled. The word is grace. The word is grace. Let us begin here so we can go on. God is the source. People are channels. Now, because the word is grace, there must be a daily agreement that breaks the spell we have cast upon each other. Agree every day. No man owes me anything. God is the source. Whisper it before the coffee. Whisper it at the stoplight. Whisper it when the old ache calls for a certain voice to make you feel alive. Agree every day. I do not look to man whose breath is in his nostril. I look to the living God. Scripture has already told us, "Away no man anything but to love one another." That is not a harsh rule. It is a door. It is how you cease sending out spiritual invoices to your friends, your employer, your spouse, your congregation. It is how you come home to sufficiency. You see, heartbreak and approval chasing and the long fatigue of codependency are the same mistake in different coats. They are the attempt to fix supply to a face, as if the river must flow only through that stone, only along that bank. No, no. The river is God, the banks are many, and they change, and they do not know how the river chose them. When you cling to the bank, you call it devotion, but it is fear wearing romance. When you insist that a human institution must carry you, you call it prudence, but it is unbelief wearing wisdom. The word is grace, and grace is God moving as fulfillment. Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, and cometh down from the Father of lights, not up from the boardroom, not out of the wallet, not from the kiss. Make the agreement a practice, not a slogan. Say within yourself, Father, thy grace is my sufficiency. Thy grace is sufficient for me. Therefore, I release every man and woman from my ledger. I ask nothing of them but the freedom to love them. Do you see what happens in that moment? You stop sending out demands for tomorrow. You stop bargaining with today. You take the hook out of your love and the chain off your work. You discover what Jesus taught when he said, take no thought for your life, for your Father knoweth that ye have need of these things. Take no thought is not irresponsibility. It is right order. The source first, the channels free to appear and to disappear. And then you find a quiet miracle that gratitude returns to its rightful shape. Instead of thanking a person as if they were the sun, you thank God and bless the instrument. Instead of resenting those who do not bring you what you hoped, you loose them and let them go, for you never made them responsible for your life. Freedom begins precisely there. You can love without dependency, work without bondage, receive without chains. It will come. It will come, because grace is not a theory. It is the living flow. Agree every day. No man owes me anything. God is the source. And you will watch the spell break, not with noise, but with a great lightness. And the day will begin to feel like a gift already paid for in full. Now we must draw the clean line that heals the ache. The word is grace. The word is grace. A channel is where a good appears. The source is where that good originates. The window is not the sun, though light pours through it. The pipe is not the water flows in it. Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, and cometh down from the Father of lights. You see, if you confuse the window with the sun, you will start worshiping glass and punishing carpenters. If you confuse the channel with the source, you will hold people in debt and hold yourself in fear. No. No, your boss is not your supply. Your partner is not your love. Your friends are not your safety. God is supply. God is love. God is safety. People, places, paychecks, and applause are but avenues through which the one presence shows its face for a season. When we forget this, an inner contract forms, and we call the contract relationship. Quietly, without speaking it out loud, we write it on the heart of another. If you give me this, I will be okay. If you keep giving me this, I will feel secure. If you stop, I will unravel. And then we dress it up with high words, commitment, loyalty, partnership, when in truth it is a demand note. It is a spiritual mortgage we lay upon an arm of flesh, and the interest is anxiety. We police their moods because we think our bread is baked in their oven. We rehearse our worth because we think our promotion sits in their hand. We beg for tomorrow because we think our safety is signed with their pen. Scripture has already set us straight. Owe no man anything but to love one another. That is, do not place your well-being on their ledger, and do not hold their well-being on yours. Love is not a contract. Love is God expressing itself where no debt is posted. Let us be very gentle and very firm here. To say a person is a channel is not to despise the person. It is to honor the truth about God. The channel can be beautiful, generous, skillful, even God sent for an hour or a decade, but it is never to be held as necessary. Cease ye from man whose breath is in his nostrils. For wherein is he to be accounted? Not in contempt, no, in right order. Blessed is the man that trusteth in the Lord, and whose hope the Lord is. You see, the moment you make a channel necessary, you begin to freeze life into an image of yesterday. Attachment is precisely that, the attempt to make today's window the only window through which tomorrow's light must shine. And then when the season turns, you think God has left you, when only the frame has changed. Hear the kingdom logic. The channel may change, the source does not. The river of grace finds another bed without asking your permission, and it will not leave you a dry stone. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. My God shall supply all your need according to his riches and glory by Christ Jesus. Therefore, if this employer closes a door, you do not begin to die. You begin to look to God and say within, Father, thou remainest. Reveal thy next avenue. If this friend cannot give what they once gave, you do not press their hands harder. You lift your eyes. If this platform, this market, this city ceases to be the avenue, you do not curse the city. You bless it and move as the cloud moves. Do not decide who or what. Do not fix the channel by imagination. The source knows its own outlets. It will come. It will come. As it comes by grace, it comes as sufficiency, not as fragments you must glue together with worry. So let us adopt the holy practice that keeps love clean and work free. Honor the channel. Refuse the attachment. Say quietly and often, Father, thou art the source. These are thy instruments. I bless the instrument. I trust the source. Then gratitude is safe to rise because it bows past the hand to the giver. then courage is safe to act because it rests in what cannot be fired, cannot be dumped, cannot be divorced. The life of God is your life. And as you hold this distinction, the silent contract dissolves. The fear of losing a person, a title, a stream of income loosens its fingers, and you discover that communion with the source enables you to receive through any channel and to lose none because you were never holding him in the first place. Loose him and let him go. Loose her and let her go. Not away from you, but away from your claim upon them. And you will find, almost to your surprise, that love grows clearer and work lighter when the sun is worshipped and the window stays a window. The word is grace. The word is grace. Yet notice how subtly the heart slips from grace to grasping and calls it devotion. Attachment feels like love because it rehearses love's gestures, attentiveness, sacrifice, constancy. But its engine is not the quiet river of God. Its engine is fear. Fear that if this person changes their tone, our joy will dim. Fear that if this supervisor fails to nod, our bread will go stale. Fear that if the text does not come, our worth is in question. You see, it is not love looking out from those eyes. It is a policeman. It is the manager of a fragile world standing guard with clipboard and stopwatch, and it calls its vigilance care. No. It is not care. It is control. Perfect love casteth out fear, writes the apostle. And so wherever fear is the foreman, love has been handed a false badge. Let us be very close to the ground. What are the symptoms? Waking and reaching for the phone, not to bless, but to check. Did they write? Did they like? Did they approve? Walking into the room, rehearsing the conversation, not to meet a soul, but to pre-shape their response. Overgiving, not because the heart is full, but because the heart is afraid of what will happen if it is not continually paying rent. Shrinking your truth to keep the peace. Smiling past your own no so the other will not move away. Do you see? These are not the movements of love. These are the tactics of a hostage. And the rope is this: the belief that good is located in a person and can stop if that person turns away. And we carry the same rope into our work and call it professionalism. Craving praise as a lifeline. Panic at silence after you have sent your best work. Overworking to be safe, not from the joy of excellence, but from the terror that enough is never enough. Resentment rising when your name is not named, not because justice has failed, but because a shrine you secretly built has not been tended. And then we baptize the shrine with high-sounding names, ambition, drive, standards, when beneath it is one sentence: my supply is in their hand. Hear me, except the Lord build the house, they labor in vain that build it. Labor is holy when it is an instrument of grace. It is bondage when it is a bid for security. You see, the moment you need them to be a certain way, you are no longer meeting them, you are managing them. And management is not love, it is fear in a necktie. The soul across from you ceases to be a living image of God and becomes a lever you pull to keep your sky from falling. Then conversation becomes negotiation. Gifts become investments. Kindness becomes currency. And when the return is low, the temperature drops. Because the account you were really keeping was not love's account at all. It was the ledger of demand. Owe no man anything but to love one another. Love keeps no ledger. Attachment carries a briefcase. Now, let us be honest with God and with ourselves, because honesty is already a loosening Why does attachment try to freeze the channel? Because it thinks the source is beyond reach, and so it must keep the window nailed open to guarantee light. But your Father knoweth that ye have need of these things, and it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. If that is true, and it is, then the window is safe to be a window, opening and closing as seasons require, while the sun keeps shining. The heart is released from management to meeting, from bargaining to blessing. And here is where the prayer must change. As long as we ask people for supply by words, by hints, by appeasements, or even ask God for supply, as if grace were late, we remain in the posture of lack. We train the mind to scan for absence and to negotiate for tomorrow. No. Prayer is not a shopping list. Prayer is communion. Prayer is the inner turning that says, Father, thy grace is my sufficiency. Open my eyes to see it. Be light within me. And in that communion, the fear engine winds down. The manager retires. The clipboard drops. And love can finally appear as love, free to give, free to receive, free to let the channel be what it is for as long as it is, while the source remains the source. Then the phone can ring or not ring. The praise can come or not come. And you will still be standing in a kingdom where tomorrow is not your concern but God's. And today is already paid in full. The word is grace. The word is grace. And now let us say a thing that will sound harsh to the ears trained by the world, but gentle to the heart trained by the kingdom. To ask for supply as though grace were missing is a sin against your own mind. It is a training in lack. You may be surrounded by good. There may be bread on the table and love in the room and work in your hands. And yet the petition, give me, teaches your inner ear to listen for absence. Take no thought for your life, is the Master's word. For your Father knoweth that ye have need of these things. If the Father knoweth, what then is my petition but a denial of what the Father already is? Before they call, I will answer, says the prophet. So you see, to ask as if the answer were not already here is to enroll in a school that only graduates anxiety. Now, do not mistake me. I do not deny feeling. I plead ignorance of your specific tremors, but I know the human pulse. Fear will visit. A cold wind will run through the house of your chest. You may say, Father, I am afraid, and you will be met. But you need not build a religion on that fear. You need not construct a prayer begging because a feeling of lack has knocked on the door. No. Feelings may come and go. Practices build altars. Let the feeling pass through. Do not organize your life around it. Do not take the sacred language of communion and turn it into a shopping list because the night felt long. Watch how, without noticing, we turn to men and women with a liturgy of lack. We pray to a supervisor. See me, validate me, include me, as if his nod were bread for our table. We pray to a partner. Prove you love me again and again, as if their proof were the oxygen of our being. We pray to markets and algorithms. Give me reach. Give me influence, as if those numbers could anoint or dismiss destiny. This is petitionary prayer in a modern tongue, asking people for reassurance, asking systems for identity, asking applause for evidence of worth. Use not vain repetitions, said Jesus. And yet we repeat the same beggar's script. Do you see me? Do you choose me? Will you keep me safe? No. That is not conversation. That is manipulation. That is not love. That is a negotiation with an altar we carved in our own fear. What, then, is the correction? Replace, give me, with open my eyes, illumine me, Let me see. Thy grace already present. Pray, be a light within me. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. This is the prayer of communion. It assumes presence, not absence. It leans into the already of God. Be still and know that I am God. In that stillness, the mind unlearns lack. The body releases its grasp. The eyes begin to recognize the table was set. The door was open. The day was funded by a river that did not begin with your asking. Understand the Lord work here. Each petition that presumes absence chisels a groove in the mind, and the mind follows grooves until it cannot see straight. Good can be on your porch and you will not open, because your prayer has trained you to expect a package tomorrow. Your head is bowed over the ledger of what you do not have, and the sun is up and the birds are fed and the lilies are clothed, and grace is whispering, here I am. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. To repeat, I shall not want, while living in the posture of pleading, is to cross your own wires. No wonder lights flicker. So we learn a new reflex. When the urge to ask rises of man or of God, we stop, we turn within, and we say, Father, thy grace is my sufficiency. Show me. And then we look out upon the same faces, the same office, the same street, and find that supply is not summoned by our begging. It is revealed by our seeing. It will come. It will come as fulfillment, not as fragments. We will carry this into a picture so ordinary that a child could teach us. Wouldn't you consider it a sin if your child, sleeping under your roof, came every morning to the kitchen pleading, Please, please, may I have breakfast? Wouldn't you rise with a holy protest against that necessity to beg for what your love has already established? If ye then, being evil, know how to give good gifts unto your children, said Jesus, how much more shall your Father which is in heaven give good things to them that ask him? Yes, but ask what? Ask to see the good already given, not to create it. Ask for eyes, not for bread you think is missing. And you will awaken to a table set from the foundation of the world. The word is grace. The word is grace. Let us sit down in the simplest room we know, the kitchen, and let love teach us with a loaf and a chair. Wouldn't you consider it a sin if your child, sleeping under your roof, came every morning praying for breakfast, hands clasped, voice trembling, bargaining, please, please, may I have what you give other days? Wouldn't something in you rise up with a holy protest? Child, what are you doing? Have you not learned the nature of this house? Breakfast is not a prize for your pleading. Breakfast is the atmosphere of our love. The table is set because we are a family, not because you negotiated well today. No, no. I would not have you beg for what is already yours. I would have you sit and eat and grow. You see, that picture is not sentiment, it is theology. If ye then, being evil, know how to give good gifts unto your children, said the Master, how much more shall your Father which is in heaven give good things to them that ask him? But ask what? Ask for eyes to see the good already given. Ask for understanding of the household you are in. Ask, open thou mine eyes, that I may behold wondrous things. Not, create for me what love forgot, for love has forgotten nothing. God's grace is not an occasional generosity. It is the nature of being. It does not visit your life like a rare guest. It indwells as the bread of life, as sufficiency, as fulfillment. It is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Breakfast is not an event. It is a nature. Grace is not a tip. It is the table. So the child's job is not to beg. It is to receive. The child's work is not to draw up a contract for eggs tomorrow. It is to eat today and play and learn and become. And our work as children of the living God is to consent to grace, not to demand it, not to mortgage tomorrow for it, not to flatter men and institutions in the hope they will serve it to us on a silver tray. Our work is to awaken to what already is and to take our place at the feast. Give us this day our daily bread is not the plea of an orphan at the back door. It is the recognition of a son at the table. And having recognized, we eat without guilt and we bless without fear. Do you see how this corrects the subtle insult we have been paying to love? We thought we honored God by many words, by anxious petitions, by deals we made in the dark. If I prove myself, will you feed me? If I keep cheerful, will you keep me safe? No, that is not prayer. That is a superstition built on ignorance of the household. In our ignorance, we also turned to people and enacted the same liturgy. If I am useful enough, will you keep me? If I never disappoint, will you stay? Beloved, stop a moment. Hear this with tenderness. If you have been begging people, if you have been drawing up emotional contracts and calling it love, do not condemn yourself. Father, forgive them. They know not what they do to themselves. Ignorance is not wickedness. It is sleep. And sleep is cured by waking, not by punishment. So wake and let the shame fall off like a blanket at noon. Agree with God about the nature of this house. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Not when I earn it, not when they approve it, not when the market smiles, but because shepherding is what love is. Sit down and eat the grace already served in this hour, the breath in your lungs, the task in your hand, the wisdom sufficient for the next step. Consent to it. Whisper as you take your place. Father, thy grace is my sufficiency. Thy grace is sufficient for me. And then let your day proceed as a grateful child proceeds from the table strengthened, not bargaining, full, not suspicious, ready to learn because hunger has been answered. Make it practical. When the old prayer rises, give me, whether to heaven or to a human channel, translate it, open my eyes. Illumine me. Show me the table already set. When the urge comes to buy tomorrow's bread with today's fear, correct it. Take therefore no thought for the morrow, for your Father knoweth that ye have need of these things. And when you remember how many mornings you have spent bargaining with love, smile softly and say, enough, I am at home. The mind that has practiced begging will try again. Do not wrestle. Replace. Replace the petition with communion, the anxiety with gratitude, the calculation with trust. From this household, we now walk into the rooms where most of our begging has lived, relationships and work. This is where tomorrow fear has built its closets of spare worry and its pantries of what-ifs. This is where we have demanded guarantees from faces and paychecks. But the same table stands in those rooms. The same grace is the air. We will learn how to carry the kitchen's wisdom into the office and the marriage, how to take no thought and still show up fully, how to honor the channels and ask nothing of them but the freedom to be channels. For today, let the correction settle deep. You do not beg for what is already established in grace. You awaken to it and receive it. It will come. It will come as fulfillment, not as fragments. The word is grace. The word is grace. Again, we return to the Master's simple divide. Take no thought for your life. And the nations of the world seek after all these things. And your Father knoweth that ye have need of these things. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. You see, there are two logics on this earth. The world's logic secures tomorrow by building higher barns, by drafting guarantees, by fastening love and livelihood to visible structures. Kingdom logic rests in invisible grace, present, sufficient, already knowing. Sufficient unto the day is the evil thereof, and sufficient unto the day is the grace thereof. Tomorrow is not my concern, but God's. Let us take this into heartbreak, where most of our tomorrows have been negotiated. The mind says, if I can secure this person, more promises, more proof, more constant reassurance, then tomorrow's loneliness is canceled. And so we ask for vows, like insurance policies. We text not to bless, but to bind. We interrogate moods as if a sigh at noon were an omen for next winter. No, your future is not housed in their attention. It is not housed in their paycheck. It is not housed in their consistency. My times are in thy hand, says the psalmist, not in his hand or her hand. When you take thought for tomorrow in love, you quietly demand that a human being be your calendar of safety. You push today's affection into the mold of tomorrow's fear. And then, even if they love you, the love cannot breathe because you have wrapped it in the plastic of anxiety and labeled it fragile. Take therefore no thought for the morrow means precisely this in love. Meet the soul in front of you as God's child today. Bless them today. Speak truth today. And leave their tomorrow to the same grace that holds yours. Now into work, where tomorrow often masquerades as professionalism. The mind says, if I can secure approval stacked metrics, perfect optics, a manager's perpetual smile, then tomorrow's bread is locked in. And so we perform to be safe, not to serve. We edit our soul to fit the weather of a supervisor's mood. We check the inbox as if salvation were on a delay. No, your life is not held in a manager's mood. Your promotion is not stitched to an algorithm's appetite. Except the Lord build the house, they labor in vain that build it. And again, promotion cometh neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south. But God is the judge. Seek excellence as devotion. Yes. Take responsibility as love's craft. Yes. But refuse the bondage of taking thought for tomorrow's outcome as if men were the keepers of your portion. Well, let us put it this way. You say, if I stop taking thought for tomorrow, will I become careless? No. Kingdom logic does not produce laziness. It produces presence. Give us this day our daily bread is not a charter for drift. It is a release from hoarding the future with fear. You do the work appointed to this hour because this hour is funded. You speak the word given to this meeting because this meeting is graced. You love the person in front of you because this encounter is under a shepherd's eye. And when the meeting ends and the sun goes down, you do not mortgage sleep to purchase a fantasy of control. He giveth his beloved sleep. Here is the hidden freedom. When you stop taking thought for tomorrow, you stop demanding that people guarantee your future. You stop extracting pledges from partners and performance from bosses to calm a fear God never asked you to manage. Instead, you turn within and say, Father, thy grace is my sufficiency. Open my eyes for today. And as that realization dawns, a new courage appears, clean, quiet, unhooked. For if grace is sufficiency, then every task arrives with its provision. The assignment and the means are a single gift. You can act without clinging, build without begging, love without leasing the others tomorrow. It will come. It will come as fulfillment, not as fragments, as a path that meets your feet as you walk, not as a map you must force from any man's hand. The word is grace. The word is grace. Hear this pillar and let it settle into the very bones. Grace is fulfillment. When a task appears by the inner witness, it does not arrive as a naked assignment. It arrives clothed in its own sufficiency. My grace is sufficient for thee, says the apostle. Sufficient, not partial, not a tease that sends you to beg at men's doors. As thy days, so shall thy strength be. You see, the kingdom never hands you work and then leaves you to hustle for the tools. No, no. Included in the call is the capacity, the wisdom, the timing, the doors that need to open, and the doors that must stay shut. He that hath begun a good work in you will perform it. The assignment and the means are one gift. Let us put it this way. When grace gives you a road, it gives you feet. When grace gives you a sea, it parts it, or gives you a boat. And if not a boat, then it teaches you to walk. When the inward word says, love here, it carries with it the patience to bear, the clarity to speak truth, the boundaries to say yes and no without apology, and the quiet spine to stand without begging. Charity suffereth long, and is kind, rejoiceth in the truth. Love is not a puddle of compliance. Love is God's nature and expression, tender and definite. Let your yea be yea, and your nay, nay. That is grace, providing the clean edge that keeps affection from turning to anesthesia. You do not have to drain yourself to prove devotion. You only have to consent to what is being given and refuse what is not. Freely ye have received, freely give. If it is not freely received within, do not extract it from another by strategy. Grace includes the courage to refrain. So too in work. If you are called to a role, the call includes competence enough for the next step, learning enough for the step after that, and favor, where favor is needed, not to decorate an ego, but to accomplish the task love has assigned. If any of you lack wisdom, let him ask of God, and it shall be given him. Ask for light, not leverage. Illumination, not insurance. Not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit, saith the Lord. Watch how this appears. In one city, a woman told me she had been given the inner word to begin a new line of work without credentials the world would trust. The mind said, secure men's letters first. Grace said, begin with what you have, and I will meet you. She consented. Within weeks, mentors rose. Unsolicited clients came from unexpected recommendations, and the certification door opened that months earlier had been bolted. She did the next honest task, and the next tool arrived with the task. It will come. It will come as provision attached to purpose. Now I must speak to the fear story that has ruled many a midnight. The mind says, if they leave, I'm finished. If this contract ends, I will be uncovered. If this applause fades, I will be invisible. No, no, that is world logic. My God shall supply all your need according to his riches in glory by Christ Jesus. The channel may end, the source does not. If one stream dries, the river of grace has already found another bed. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. You see, want appears when we treat yesterday's window as today's sun, but grace is the sun. Windows change. If a relationship shifts, the patience and clarity to bless and to release are included. If an employer closes its books, the guidance, the contacts, the stamina to learn, the favor for the next door are already in the package of this day. Behold, I set before thee an open door, and no man can shut it. No man can shut what grace opens to you. And where grace shuts, no amount of pleading can make it safe to stay. Therefore, your posture changes. You wake and you do not inventory deficits. You acknowledge the assignment of the hour and agree with the provision that belongs to it. Father, thy grace is my sufficiency. Open my eyes to the means that arrive with this task. Then you take the call to love and find that patience is on the table. You take the call to speak and discover words given in the moment. You take the call to labor and find tools at hand or a hand extended. And if nothing appears at first glance, you do not panic. You wait a breath, and the subtle path becomes visible because communion reveals what the man blinds. This is the doctrine that makes us gentle with people and fearless with change. Grace never gives you an assignment without also providing what is necessary for its fulfillment. So you are free to bless every channel and bind yourself to none. We will now learn the practice that keeps this freedom bright, how to receive richly through men and women and systems while refusing to make them your source. Honor the channel. Refuse the attachment. Loose them and let them go. This is the art by which grace moves unimpeded. The word is grace. The word is grace. Now let us take this out of the clouds and set it in your hands. The mature stance is not indifference. It is gratitude without bondage, appreciation without bargaining, love without fear. You see, the world taught you, cling to the one who fed you or you will starve. And so you praise to possess and thank to ensure tomorrow. No, no. In the kingdom, we bless the channel and we rest in the source. The heart's language shifts quietly within. We say, thank you for the channel, but I do not rest my life on the channel. My life rests in God. Practice the sentence until it becomes the air around your relationships. Every good gift and every perfect gift is from above. So when a check arrives, you smile and say to the giver, thank you. And within you whisper, Father, I recognize thy grace through this hand. When an introduction opens a door, you send a note of thanks and perhaps a gift, but within you say, promotion cometh neither from the east, nor from the west, but God is the judge. When affection kisses your cheek, you lean into it fully, and within you say, my help cometh from the Lord. Do you see the same event, a different route? Gratitude, yes. Bondage, no. Let us be simple and exact. Money. An employer pays you. A client approves an invoice. A friend surprises you with generosity. Receive it fully. Pay your bills. Take your family to supper. Rejoice. And then do not build your identity on that stream. Do not convert thanks into a lifetime mortgage of your soul. Owe no man anything but to love one another. Owe no man a false self to keep the river flowing. If the bonus is delayed, you do not panic or flatter harder. You turn within and agree, Father, thy grace is my sufficiency. And you do the honest work appointed to today. If the job ends, you bless, you finish clean, you lay down the tools, and you walk with the same source into the next field that grace will surely reveal. The channel may change, the source does not. Opportunity. A gatekeeper invites you to a platform. A mentor opens a door. An algorithm decides to smile. Enjoy it. Show up prepared. Serve the audience. But do not worship the gate. Do not spend your nights rehearsing how to keep the light on you. Except the Lord build the house, they labor in vain that build it. And again, behold, I set before thee an open door, and no man can shut it. If the platform shifts or the numbers dip, you do not shrink your truth to pacify a graph. You bless the season you were granted and keep faith with the work, not the weather. Affection. A partner loves you. A friend stands by you. Drink it in. Take the walk. Share the secret. Build the home. And watch a phrase that sounds holy but hides a chain. I need you. Often that means I need your role to stay fixed so my fear will sleep. Roles can change. Seasons can end. God does not let your inner language be, I love you, I bless you, I will tell you my truth and receive yours. But my life does not rest in your consistency. My life rests in God. This frees you to love beyond fear and to say both yes and no without trembling. Perfect love casteth out fear. Mentorship. A teacher appears. A practitioner prays. A leader guides. Sit at the feet. Learn. Give honor where honor is due. And within, keep the line clear. Thou, O Christ, art the teacher. The human guide is an instrument, not a shrine. If grace leads you onward, go. Do not stay from obligation. Do not leave from rebellion. Move by the same inner light that brought you, and you and your teacher will bless one another even in parting. How then do we live this way? Practically. We cultivate a twofold habit: outward gratitude, inward freedom. Outwardly, speak thanks, pay fairly, show up on time, keep your word. Inwardly, lift your eyes. The earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof. Outwardly, acknowledge the vessel. Inwardly, worship the fountain. And when you feel the old rope tightening, fear, whispering, secure them, or you will lose, you answer gently. Loose him and let him go, not as rejection, not as a cold shoulder, but as holy release from servitude to your tomorrow. Bless the channel, refuse the attachment. This is how grace moves unimpeded through your life, and how you become safe to love and easy to help, because you ask nothing of man but the freedom to be an instrument of God. It will come. It will come as fulfillment, not as fragments. The word is grace. The word is grace. Now hear the practice that turns keys in real doors. Loose him and let him go. Loose him. Loose her. Loose them and let them go. Loose the debt you say they owe. Closure. Apology, consistency, validation, promotion, recognition. Loose the IOU you wrote in your heart. You owe me safety forever. You owe me making this right. You owe me not to change. No, no, loose him, loose her, loose them and let them go. Forgive us our debts as we forgive our debtors. Owe no man anything but to love one another. You see, expectation is a chain. It binds both the one who expects and the one expected of. Your happiness becomes their job, and their freedom becomes your threat. You watch their mood like a stock ticker. You edit your speech to protect your investment. You convert love into a contract and work into an altar to tomorrow. That is bondage, not communion. That is looking to the channel and worshiping it as source. Cursed be the man that trusteth in man. Blessed is the man that trusteth in the Lord. When you hold someone for what you think they owe, you hold yourself with the same rope. You cannot move without jerking the line, and neither can they. Loosing is cutting the rope. Loosing is returning supply to God and releasing the person to be a person. Make it specific. Loose the need for an apology before you can breathe. Loose the demand for closure before you can sleep. Loose the expectation of perpetual consistency before you can laugh. Loose the craving for validation before you can speak. Loose the hunger for recognition before you can work. Loose the pressure for promotion before you can serve. Loose them all and let them go. Not because apologies and recognitions are evil, no, but because your life does not rest there. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. When the ledger of your heart is cleared, you can receive any of those gifts with gratitude. And if they do not come, nothing essential is missing. Now, do not mistake release for passivity. Loosing is not losing your voice. Loosing is not living without edges. You may set boundaries. You may speak truth. You may end an agreement. You may decline a role that asks you to sell your soul. You may complete an invoice and expect payment according to honest terms. But within, you refuse to make the person your source. You do not punish to extract. You do not plead to secure. You do not mortgage your peace to keep a stream from drying. Render therefore to Caesar the things which are Caesar's, and unto God the things that are God's. Do what is proper and clean in the human arrangement, and give your dependence to God alone. If you must leave, leave as one led by grace, not as a beggar storming a gate. If you must speak, speak as one whose sufficiency is within, not as one trying to rent courage from another's approval. Let the gospel give you your image. When Jesus cried at Lazarus's tomb, loose him and let him go, the man had already been raised. It was the grave clothes that still clung. Your loved ones, your colleagues, your former teachers, they are not your life. They are often wrapped in the grave clothes of your expectations. Loose them. Cut the wrappings. You must explain this to me. You must never change. You must guarantee my tomorrow. Cut them, and living people will step forth. And you too, loose yourself from your own grave clothes. Cut the wrapping that says, I must be seen a certain way. I must never disappoint. I must keep everyone comfortable. Loose it and let it go. Practice this as a daily agreement that breaks the spell. No man owes me anything. Say it the way you lace your shoes in the morning. Father, thy grace is my sufficiency. I loose him, I loose her, I loose them, and I loose myself. I return all debts to grace, and I cancel all contracts I wrote in fear. Then move through the day and let your hands do honest work. Your mouth speak honest words. Your feet go where grace appoints. Where an explanation is fitting, give it. Where a boundary is needed, set it. Where an ending is true, end it. But do it as one who walks in liberty. Stand fast, therefore, in the liberty wherewith Christ hath made us free. Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. And here you will find that forgiveness ceases to be a moral struggle and becomes a natural climate. Why? Because having accepted God as your being, you see that injury cannot touch your essence. I and my Father are one. No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper. What they did or failed to do cannot cut the root from which your life springs. So you can say without strain, Father, forgive them. They know not what they do to themselves. You release them from your book of accounts, and you release yourself from being their collector. Loosing is not losing. It is removing the chain of obligation so grace can move freely through you, to you, and even through those you have released. It will come. It will come as fulfillment, not as fragments. The word is grace. The word is grace. Forgiveness is the final key that unlocks the last door, because it severs the oldest lie that another soul holds, your wholeness in their hand. You see, resentment is a cord that binds you to the channel. It is a pledge to keep drinking from a dry well while cursing the ground. No, no. Forgiveness is not excusing harm, not pretending it didn't happen, not calling bitter sweet. Forgiveness is seeing through. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And I add, as the light reveals, they know not what they do to themselves. For all injury proceeds from ignorance of sonship, and ignorance always boomerangs upon its own sender. When you see that, the rope slackens. The soul across from you may still be entangled, but you are no longer tied to their tangle. Now, let us be exact. Forgiveness does not cancel consequence. It cancels bondage. You may set a boundary, end an agreement, testify the truth, change the lock, do whatever is clean and fitting, and yet be free of the venom that says, you have my life in your pocket. They do not. Your life is hid with Christ in God. I and my Father are one. Who shall separate us from the love of Christ? Not tribulation, not betrayal, not delay, not dismissal. Having accepted God as your being, you learn this holy arithmetic. No subtraction by man can reduce what God is being as you. No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper. Not because no weapon is waved, but because it cannot find the center where your life is held. Apply this to heartbreak, where the ache cries, if only they would understand me, then I could be whole. No, no, the understanding you seek from them is a proxy for the rest you have not yet received within. You do not need them to understand. You need to be free. Freedom is your proof of grace. Bless the years given. Bless the lessons learned. Return all IOUs to God and say, my times are in thy hand. If an apology comes, receive it with gentleness. If an explanation appears, listen with clarity. But do not suspend your liberty on their timing. He restoreth my soul. Your restoration is not a human project. It is a divine action. And at your work, where injustice has taken a seat at your table, what then? You may pursue right action. Speak truth. Document what is true. Use the channels available, supervisors, policies, courts, if grace so leads. But do not pursue as if these were your source. Promotion cometh neither from the east nor from the west, but God is the judge. The wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of God. So you act from a clean heart without poison in the prayer. If the correction comes through that channel, give thanks. If the door shuts there, another will open where your assignment actually lives. Remember Joseph, who could say, yea, thought evil against me, but God meant it unto good. There is a governance no manager can veto and no policy can prevent. Rest in it and move by it. Forgiveness is clarity about identity. It says, my being is in God, therefore no person can withhold my life from me. It returns cause to the source and unties you from every effect that claimed to be a cause. And as that cord snaps, a deeper quiet dawns. You find you are not only done asking people, you are finished asking God for what his presence already is. Prayer turns from petition to communion, from give me to be. Thou and me the seeing, the sufficiency. Be still and know that I am God. In quietness and in confidence shall be your strength. We will go there now, into that holy stillness where supply is not requested but recognized, where the word grace ceases to be a doctrine and becomes breath. It will come. It will come as fulfillment, not as fragments. The word is grace. The word is grace. Now we enter the holy center where this ceases to be theory and becomes breath. Prayer, as we speak it here, is not an attempt to persuade a reluctant deity, not a bargaining session with the invisible, not a list of needs waved in panic. No, no. True prayer is communion, silent, consenting, beholding. Be still and know that I am God. You see, asking assumes absence. Communion recognizes presence. Asking tries to move God toward us. Communion lets us awaken to the God in whom we live and move and have our being. Let us put it this way. Imagine you and a beloved friend by a little stream at dusk. The water is talking, the trees are listening, and the moon has not decided yet if she will come early. You do not need many words. You do not need to tell them to be kind. They are kind. You do not need to ask them to be there. They are there. You sit, and perhaps you hold hands, and the quiet itself becomes the language. This is communion. When thou prayest, enter into thy closet, not a wooden closet, but the inner room, and shut the door on fear, shut the door on proving, shut the door on the nations seeking. Sit and say softly within, open thou mine eyes, be a light within me. Thy grace is my sufficiency. Thy grace is sufficient for me. You need not say it loudly. Whisper it inside the ribs. Breathe. Once, twice, thrice. Feel the body as a temple, and then forget the body and know the temple. Let the mind bring up its anxieties, and let them pass, as clouds pass across a still lake that does not forget its depth for their shadows. If a thought says, but what about you? Answer, peace, be still. If another says, send the message now, or you will lose them, you answer, my life is hid with Christ in God. Then again, thy grace is my sufficiency. Thy grace is sufficient for me. Practice this as a simple reset in the heat of an hour. The phone shakes with an incoming storm. The heart tightens to text, to prove, to plead. Stop. 2 breaths. Close the mouth. Open the inner ear. Speak within. Father. Just that, Father. Or Abba. Then be a light within me. And the compulsion begins to wither because you are drinking from the well instead of rattling the cup. Or in work, the email lands with a sting. The old habit reaches for performance as anesthesia. Stop. 2 breaths. Not by might, nor by power, but by my spirit. Thy grace is sufficient. Watch how urgency, which is fear in costume, lays down its weapons when presence is recognized. What happens then? As the soul remembers, the demand upon people dissolves. The hunger to be fed from one face, one platform, one signature eases. You do not cease to act. You cease to act as a beggar. You still send a message, but now it is clean, no extraction braided into it. You still ask a question at work, but no self on a hook is dangling from its end. The kingdom of God is within you, said the Master, and when within is found, without is freed. Communion reveals sufficiency, and what is revealed inwardly stops being demanded outwardly. Do not mistake this for withdrawal. Communion does not make you smaller. It makes you true. It turns relationships into altars instead of factories. Altars where love is offered and received freely, not factories where reassurance is manufactured on demand. It turns work into service. Your craft becomes a chalice through which grace pours, not a treadmill powering tomorrow's fear. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. And because you do not want, you can give, you can listen, you can correct gently, you can say yes without bargaining and no without apology. There is oil on your head and a table in the presence of all that used to threaten you. Keep the practice plain. Morning. Sit 5 minutes. Eyes closed. Hands open on the lap as if to say, I receive. Whisper. Open my eyes. Noon. 1 minute before the meeting. 3 breaths. Thy grace is my sufficiency. Evening. Lay the day on the altar. Every face. Every email, every silence, my times are in thy hand, and sometimes say nothing at all. Sit on the inner hillside under an inner moon, and let gratitude do the talking. You will discover that God has never been moved by your lists, but you are moved by his presence. My grace is sufficient for thee. And as that sufficiency is felt, the world loosens its grip, and you become easy to satisfy because you are already satisfied. It will come. It will come not as something wrestled from hands, but as a river recognized, a sufficiency revealed. And as communion becomes your breath, you will find that love without dependency and work without bondage are not theories, but the only natural way to live in a kingdom not of this world. The word is grace. The word is grace. Now we live it, not as an idea carried like a charm, but as identity. The tyrant I that insists on control, on guarantees, on applause and explanation, let it be reduced to silence until only the I of God remains. I live, yet not I, but Christ liveth in me. You see, an instrument does not compose itself, does not fret over who will hold it, does not market its tone. It consents to be played. We are that when we return supply to God. We are not diminished. We are liberated into our true measure. The instrument is most itself when breath fills it, most beautiful when it is not trying to be the musician. So the daily arrogance of self-will subsides, and a quiet readiness takes its place. Be still, and know that I am God. Not take charge, be still. Not take thought, be still. And in that stillness, grace moves. What then changes in love? Everything that was fragile becomes steady, and everything that was controlling becomes kind. You can promise your presence, keep your word, tend the garden, and still not demand that the other become your oxygen. Oh, weigh no man anything, but to love one another. Love ceases to be a siphon. It becomes a spring. You speak plainly without rehearsing the consequence, because your peace is not held hostage by their mood. You are tender without clutching and faithful without bargaining, because fidelity is now given to God first and then given through you to the person. Perfect love casteth out fear, fear of change, fear of loss, fear of being unseen cast out, not because the world has stopped changing, but because the root has been found. And so you can celebrate seasons richly, grieve endings honestly, and bless departures cleanly. You can say yes without stringing it to tomorrow, and no without writing a defense brief. For your life is not a negotiation, it is an offering. Freely ye have received, freely give. And what changes at work? Excellence remains, it deepens, but the fever leaves. Whatsoever ye do, do it heartily, as to the Lord, and not unto men. Ambition becomes clean, no longer an altar to self, but a zeal to serve the assignment of grace with clarity and skill. You study, you prepare, you meet deadlines, you tell the truth about capacity and time, and you refuse the narcotic of approval. When the numbers soar, You give thanks without intoxication. When they sink, you grieve if needed. Learn what is offered and refuse devastation. Except the Lord build the house, they labor in vain that build it. And again, promotion cometh neither from the east, nor from the west, nor from the south, but God is the judge. So the email that once determined your worth now determines only your schedule. The meeting that once held your future now holds only your next task. You belong to God, and therefore you are fit to belong to any honest work without being owned by it. Hold to a simple daily practice that keeps the channel clear. Morning agreement. Before feet touch floor, within say, Father, thy grace is my sufficiency. No man owes me anything. God is the source, and I consent to be an instrument. Let it settle over your plans like quiet rain. Midday, communion. 2 or 3 breaths before you move. Open thou mine eyes, not by might, nor by power, but by thy spirit. Drop the hurry, remember the fountain, and do the next true thing. Evening, loosing. Lay all faces and tasks on the altar. Forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. I loose him, I loose her, I loose them, and I loose myself. My times are in thy hand. If anything clings an argument, a delay, a praise you want to polish, place it there and sleep as one kept. He giveth his beloved sleep. Now let us be sober and glad at once. Channels will come and go. People will enter and bless, and sometimes leave without the speeches you imagined. Markets will turn. Plans will be revised by winds you did not chart. No, no, this is not your ruin. This is the river proving it is a river. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. You will find yourself cared for in ways you could not have outlined, guided by turns you would not have voted for, supplied by hands you did not know to ask. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. I have seen it, and you will see it. A door that had no knob will open. A conversation you did not schedule will appoint your next step. A strength you did not own in the morning will carry the afternoon. I have been young, and now am old, yet have I not seen the righteous forsaken, nor his seed begging bread. Therefore, live as an instrument, not an eye. Receive through many channels, bound to none. Love without dependency, work without bondage. Let God be the source, and let your life be the song he plays. It will come. It will come as fulfillment, not as fragments. And you will find, not by argument, but by walking, that grace is sufficient, always sufficient, wonderfully sufficient for you.